I'm Kate.
I'm Avon.
And I'm Sonia. And today we're dishing with you from the Ritz-Carlton's fantastic little bistro. It's the West End Bistro located at 22 and M Street Northwest, part of the Ritz-Carlton.
That's right, and today we are dishing with Charles Fishman. He's the founder and executive producer of the DC Jazz Festival. Jazz is very important in DC, very important in DC.
It's part of its lifeblood,
It is. I mean, a lot of people don't really know how important jazz is to this city, but we want you to tell us, and then tell us a little bit about the festival. But how did the festival get started?
Well, it's very interesting. I was, until he passed, Dizzy Gillespie's personal manager and producer. And we traveled all over the world. And there were jazz festivals in Curaçao, in Lithuania, in Spain,
all the
in Venezuela. And I looked around and I said, we don't have a jazz festival. I said, it's stupid. It's embarrassing, it's shameful, because we invented the music. We developed it. And a gentleman by the name of Duke Ellington, among others, was born here and lived here. And so we just said, we have to, because what jazz does is it's representative of the inherent values of what this country stands for. Democracy, freedom of expression, diversity, and unity.
And teamwork. Because jazz is all about a group of musicians working together.
Right.
Very free-spirited.
But without imposing on their individuality. And that's the beauty of unity and diversity. It's like, we were talking before, it's like basketball.
It's like this show. Unity and diversity.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us about the Jazz Festival, June 1st through the 13th.
Absolutely.
Is it a free set of events, or are they all ticketed pay events?
Most events are free. We do have some ticketed events. We're doing something at the Carter Barron Amphitheater this year. It's a Jazz Under the Stars, Latin jazz with Pancho Sanchez, at least a 6-time Grammy Award winner.
At least.
We're doing a tribute to James Moody, an NEA National Endowment of the Arts jazz master, who was a colleague of Dizzy Gillespie's for over 50 years. We're doing 2 concerts at the Lisner Auditorium, one with Eddie Palmieri, a 7-time Grammy winner, and then in the evening we're doing a double bill with Roberta Flack and Roy Hargrove's big band. And then the following evening we're having a commission piece. We commissioned this thanks to the National Endowment for the Arts American Masters Chamber Music Initiative.
Wow, it's a mouthful.
Right, it's a mouthful.
Music Initiative.
Right.
How does jazz fit into that?
We can do anything.
Oh.
We can do anything.
They're improvisation. Yeah.
Well, it's improvisation, but it's basically called Paquito de Rivera, who's our co-artistic director and a 10-time Grammy winner.
Is that the prerequisite? You have to be a Grammy?
I even have one. But you don't have to be a Grammy Award winner.
Okay.
And we commissioned one of our musicians, and we're doing the Paquito de Rivera and the Jelly Roll Morton Latin Tinge for Paquito on clarinet, a string quartet, and percussion.
It seems like a lot of events for this particular jazz festival. I know you said you started this because you felt there was a need in DC.
Yes.
So how did you start from the idea, getting to where we are today, and how long has the jazz festival been around?
This is the 6th year, but it's the first year we're calling it the DC Jazz Festival.
What was it before?
We first named it after Duke Ellington, which was very logical. But what we learned is that if you say Duke Ellington Jazz Festival, it could be anywhere. And we felt it very important to brand our city as the nation's capital. We do get a lot of support from the city, and so we changed the name. So this is the 6th year, but the first year we're doing it as the DC Jazz Festival.
Any DC native performers?
We have over 125 DC-based jazz musicians who are performing at the festival, many of them in this wonderful program that we've been able to develop called Jazz in the Hoods. And we have
Jazz in the Hoods.
We have performances.
We've got lots of hoods.
Right?
Which hoods?
You named a hood, we got the hood. You know, we have DuPont Circle, Adams Morgan, U Street,
Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's where
Blues
Duke
Alley is
Ellington
one.
School of the Arts is.
Bohemian Caverns, the oldest and
U
most
Street.
wonderful on U Street. Twins Jazz on U Street. And then a whole bunch of clubs along U Street, but also in hotels. The Madison Hotel, the DuPont Hotel. I can't remember, but there are over 100 performances in nearly 50 venues around the city. And last year when we celebrated New Orleans, Wynton Marsalis was here, and he looked at our program about Jazz in the Hoods. He says, how'd you do that, man? I've been trying to do this in New York. but we've done it here. And the important thing is that jazz is very inclusive. We have 2 Jazz and Families Fun Days at the Phillips Collection. We have programs at the Ark in Anacostia, at the Atlas Theater in the Northeast Florida, at the Sitar Arts Center.
So it's all over Washington,
All
and,
over.
So much.
and for every age group as well.
Just about, just about. I mean, this year we're not doing it because of the economic climate, but we celebrated New Orleans last year, and we had 10 bands on the National Mall over 2 days and 80,000 people. It was a free concert. 80,000 people showed up. It was like a cornucopia of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival.
So is there a theme for this year, or is the theme DC?
It is DC because, again, this year and next year, we're really trying to brand DC, and we have such a treasure trove of wonderfully gifted jazz musicians from here.
That's true.
And we have them all over the city.
Well, that represents how DC is as a culture from a variety standpoint, diversity, would you say? So jazz also is also inclusive yet differential.
Right, and not only that, but I think we have like musicians from 19 different countries. Trinidad, Palestine, Italy, Argentina.
Palestinian jazz.
Palestinian jazz. Tell us how you find that group and
the Berklee College of Music.
I was going to say Facebook.
But no,
Well,
because
I want to hear a little bit about
that band has an Israeli musician and a Palestinian musician, a Japanese musician, somebody from Ireland, somebody from Puerto Rico. It's just amazing how the impact and influence of jazz has really been so prominent relative to celebrating what this country is all about. And I've been very privileged to do tours, primarily with Dizzy, but some of our other musicians around the world, and to see how jazz would impact. So at the end of a concert in Moscow, Berlin, Prague, Morocco, we would invite jazz musicians from the local culture to join us, and they knew all of our music. It was just really
so
amazing.
jazz starting in Washington, going out to the world.
That's right.
Coming back to Washington.
And coming back to
Well, it
Washington.
started in Africa,
Well,
and then it went out into the
We're
world. But
claiming
DC,
we're claiming it.
I don't
Charles,
blame you.
We've actually run out of time. There's so much to learn about the DC Jazz Festival and jazz in general and everything that's going on here, but we don't want anyone to miss it. The website for the Jazz Festival, you want to give us that one more time?
www.dcjazzfest.org, and it's from June 1st to 13th. You can pick up brochures all over the city. We're on Bus Tales, we're on ABC, we're all over the place.
And they're here on the District Dish.